Hi, my name is Todd Cole. I am a professor at Westminster College who teaches educational psychology. And many of the books I'd like to share with you right now focus on mindfulness and emotions that I think will be helpful not just in this day and age because of the pandemic, but also throughout life and all that happens in our journey that we call life. Now, at the beginning of every class, I will have some type of mindfulness activity. And this is a great book that just gives you 1-minute activities that you can have at the beginning of any class or any event that you might even have at church or a gathering anywhere. Anxiety and Relief for Teens. I bought this and I'm going to give it to my brother who has a teen. And it helps him understand what they might be going through. But then also the Mindfulness Journal for Teens. And it encourages them to talk about different topics that are within this book and write about them too. Mindfulness for Kids Who Worry, Calming Exercise to Overcome Anxiety. I don't think it's just kids who need this. I think I need it too. This is one I'll be using in class. Mindfulness for Kids, a 10-minute a day activity. I will be playing music at the beginning of each class that's just calming music, maybe of the ocean or of the rainforest, so that when students come in, they have that sense of, I encourage kids to just take a deep breath in and release it every time they hear the bells chime around Westminster, which is every 15 minutes. So that's a good activity to do. That's easy, right? Breathe Like a Bear, and 30 mindful moments for kids to feel calm and focused anytime, anywhere. I've talked about this author before. He wrote a book called Our Table that I spoke of when I focused on books about the pandemic. But Just Be You by Peter H. Reynolds. Now he also has one that's called I Am Human, a book of empathy to teach kids to empathize not just with feelings that they may have, but with feelings that their neighbors may have, or their partner that they're sitting with in a certain group at school. And I Am Yoga. Kids are really into yoga. So I encourage this book as well. Now there's a lot of books out there that help kids to understand what they are feeling, and that it's okay to feel what they're feeling, but it's how they deal with those feelings. Grief is Like a Snowflake. This is written by Julia Cook, and I've talked about her before, that she is a guru or the go-to for many child counselors at school and for teachers. But I have gotten this book for parents who have lost parents. So for older people too. Picture books are for everybody and not just for kids. And sometimes the topic isn't for a kid. It might be for a parent, but it's written in child form or text. A Travel Guide to Heaven for Kids, to explain what heaven is like for kids, to understand it. My favorite color is blue, sometimes. A Journey Through Loss with Art and Color. How red might make you feel one way, how yellow makes you feel another way, how black and gray make you feel a different emotion. The Rainbow Bridge, A Visit to Pet Paradise. So if you've heard of the Rainbow Bridge for pets, this explains the journey they take when they pass away from this earth, and then they're free and they can run all around and they're no longer sick. So this explains it very well to kids. Lifetimes, A Beautiful Way to Explain Death to Children. It's a good one. I recommend it highly, by Brian, Melanie, and Robert Ingpen. When the death of a relative or friend or a pet happens, or it is about to happen, how can you help a child to understand? Lifetimes is a moving book for children of all ages, even parents too. It lets us explain life and death in a sensitive, caring, and beautiful way. Lifetimes tells about beginnings and about endings and about living in between. With large, wonderful illustrations, it tells about plants, about animals, about people, and it tells about dying is as much a part of living as being born. It helps us to remember, and it helps us to understand. It's a very special, important book for you and your child. This book explains beautifully that all living things have their own special lifetimes. So the book is called Lifetimes. The Copper Tree is about a teacher who dies. And what the kids decide to do, the students, is plant a tree in her honor on the land of the school. The Memory Box, a book about grief. It encourages a child to take things that are important to them that help them remember the person who has passed away and put it in a box. And it's sort of like a treasure that they can open again and again to remember them by. The Memory Box, a book about grief by Joanna Rolland. Goodbye Brecken, a story about death of a pet. Love this one. Where do they go? Grief is complicated for adults and even more so for children. Julia Alvarez' stunning book, Where Do They Go, uses simple yet lyrical language to explore death in all its nuanced aspects, while bringing comfort to us all, both adults and children alike. It's a must-read for those who are grieving and those who have ever grieved. That is, it is a perfect book for everyone. Where do they go? This is an oldie but goodie. The 10th Good Thing About Barney. I used to read this to my first graders when our pet gerbil or hamster would die that we would have in our class. They were always named Fluffy, like Fluffy 1, Fluffy 2, Fluffy 3. But we would have a funeral of sorts where we would bury him. But we have to remember to be sensitive about these things because there might be children who have never had a pet. So it might be the first time they experience a death like that. Some people may grow up on a farm and experience the death of animals all the time, so it's nothing new to them, but be sensitive. Tear Soup. This was given to me after my mom died by a fellow colleague who lost her daughter to cancer. And my mom died of cancer, so she gave it to me. It's really special. A Recipe for Healing After Loss. This one I just bought, Big Feelings. This is by Alexandra Penfold and Suzanne Kaufman. It's the same author of All Are Welcome, and it's the story of the first day of school and everybody's walking their children to school. And big feelings of just how we all feel something and it's okay to feel what we're feeling. Remembering it's how you deal with those feelings. So I hope these have been helpful for you in experiencing different emotions that we usually experience with our children and with our students. Literature can be a great avenue to help understand and use as a springboard for a conversation.